Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Toulouse, in France, with Dr. Jean-Jacques Charbonier, that is author and anesthetist, and in the reanimation room, yes. I also do conferences and write books. Yes, it's starting to really be a phenomenon. We often see you on TV and radio. You wrote many books, including this one, the seven good reasons to believe in the afterlife, from Daniel Edition, publisher here in France, that is courageous to share all this information. It is essential, especially right now. And testimonials like yours of life after death, especially from a scientific background, your testimonials are essential. Yes, I really think that it's time to shake up the palm tree, and because the materialism scientific point of view is time to be shaken up. So it's very important that publishers like Daniel, publisher, can share this information. I'm only one piece of the puzzle to share those testimonials. But those to me are very, very important. It's not really those that have lived those experiences of death. Yes, I'm really interested for many reasons, and especially coming from you, it's very courageous to come out and to talk in front of your colleagues and in the hospital about this. Well, no, not really courageous. It would be courageous if I would face a fear, but here I'm not fearful about telling all this. I would be really uncomfortable not to speak about it, because now it's such an evidence. And it continues to be difficult to communicate this, but personally I do this very naturally, and with colleagues, and the nurses and the doctors know, and they help, and very often somebody will let me know, a doctor that should go and visit a patient because they had such an experience. So all those testimonials that were put on the side now are really being known. It's time to take off that veil, and those testimonials, we cannot deny them anymore. Well, before, yeah, there's been so many testimonials. Why have we been dismissed? Yes, there's so many, and we have we can see that reading all the way back to Platon, we can see that they've always existed. And all those testimonials have always existed since the man is the man. But the only thing has been that, especially from the beginning of this century, it's been impossible to communicate about it. Those experiences of death. Tell us, how did you see that this was happening? Because you're coming from a scientific background is very rigorous, and there's a certain way of thinking that is very logical and rational, and now we're talking of the intangible and the immeasurable. So how did you? Yes, I can tell you one thing. I was dumb. I was really dumb at the end of my studies. I was really sure that we were, once we're dead, there was nothing. And one day I had an experience really extraordinary that changed my life. From that experience, I came as a dumb, really dumb person from all those studies that were really brainwashing me in a certain way. And then I had this experience, and then I started to be interested in psychic, and so I became less dumb, and little by little I start to understand how they work. I still don't understand exactly how it works, but I question it, and that is the open mind, when we start to question how things really work, because we don't have to believe in this materialism. Well, talking of this experience in itself, I was studying, I was going to become a doctor, and I was I found myself on location with a deathful accident, and there was somebody that was stuck in their car, and that person was stuck in the car. And here I really had to help him, but unfortunately I had not much experience and I didn't succeed. Unfortunately, happened what happened, he died. But I saw in his eyes the pupil, the black part of the eye just slowly opening up like ink. I felt his presence, and I felt the presence coming out from the top of his head, and I just was quietly coming on the side of my face, and I could feel the joy and something really real. And now a lot of people talk about it. But at that moment, I thought of this book, The Life After Life, from Raymond Maudit, and I just saw how, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I'm seeing right now. And after death, people still continue to live, and I was right there, testimonial of a death. And later on, a lot of testimonials have come to me from other people telling me that they saw some smoke coming out of the body, some feeling, presence, the coming out of the body at the time of death. And all this cannot be hallucination, because the brain is perfectly oxygenated. And before we could say that it was part of, people were saying that it was just hallucination and the brain was not functioning well, but here there's a lot of testimonies. There is 4% of the population that have, it's 12 million of Americans, 2.8 million of French people. There's a lot of people that have experienced this. And today we should, as practitioners and scientists, and being there to help them, we should be able to record those so that we can analyze them and scientifically analyze them rationally, without seeing or thinking that it's hallucination, but just record them as they are. Because nothing is more horrible for somebody that just lived that, not to be able to communicate after a near-death experience. And so everybody should be aware of that. All the doctors around these people waking up from general anesthesia after an operation, they should be able to talk. I guess that from little by little, you came from scientific materialism science to quantic science. Yes, yes, materialism science is really going off the roof, well, totally being blown up now, because we're seeing how in those states our consciousness is working and even more aware. Once we're liberated and we're able to expand and we can travel through time and space, because these people are also able to describe what's happening outside of their body in other rooms, and they can also go from one room to another, and sometimes kilometers from the operation room or the hospital room. And then we were able to, of course, around the world, check that these were real and happening. So it's not because we cannot explain scientifically that it doesn't exist yet. A lot of people say it's not possible, but no. We should start looking, change our way of thinking, and science can change too and evolve. Yes, I think the best way for a scientist to behave is to try to integrate new things, even though if they don't exactly understand, and then from there try to bring it in science. It shouldn't stop and block because that phenomenon doesn't enter in its principles and dogmas. It doesn't mean this phenomenon doesn't exist. No, it shouldn't really work that way. And so we also see it when people are in coma. Not only near-death experience, but also in coma. I guess you have a lot of coma testimonials as well, people that share experiences. Do you see some commonalities in all of this? We often hear of tunnels and of light and of ecstasy. Well, the testimonials of coma is different. I would differentiate the near-death experiences where the heart stops, and now we can have the proof that 15 seconds after the heart stops, the brain still works. And we can also differentiate those from comas. Most of the time in coma, there is less than 5% of people that experience those. We don't know why, but that's what we've noticed.
Near-death experience,
but the near-death experience,
NDE, near-death experience ou expérience de mort imminente. Alors moi je les appelle plus comme ça puisque
I don't really call them this way anymore because now it's proven that the brain doesn't work anymore. So all the people that come back from their heart being stopped, they were clinically dead. But in 18 to 20%, they will tell and they will explain what happened.
Elle nous raconte ce qui s'est passé.
Racontez-nous ce qui s'est passé.
Tell us what happened. Well, most of the time it's always the same. The people come out of their body, they see what's happening around them, most of the time at distance, and then they leave the mental, the analytical brain, and then they are not able anymore to say exactly where they're located in time and space. They go through this tunnel and they're 100% in intuitive conscious, and they are able to do premonition, intuition, telepathy. They're able to have divine visualization and the tunnel. That's more for the religious people. Yes. Well, it's more the spirituality rather than religion. Most people experience, they do experience. What do you mean by spiritual? Let's define it right there. There's quite a lot of negativity around it in France, for example. What do you mean by that? Well, spirituality, different than the religion or cults or dogmas, doesn't need dogmas, doesn't need any social rules or hierarchy. Be in the spirituality is being connected to the universe, the whole universe, and feeling part of it. It is, you're connected to all the cosmic forces and telluric forces. You are the big whole, you are everything. And from that moment, when you're disconnected from an analytical brain, you're in the intuition, and then you're able to receive a lot of information. But these people that come back, they feel that they're living through those principles, and they feel unlimited once they experience NDE. Yes. They feel that their consciousness expand, and then when they come back, they feel shrinked because their consciousness is much smaller all of a sudden in the body. One of them said, I knew everything up then in the light, but now nothing. Once they're in the divine light, and there is loved ones that come and guides, spiritual guides, and sometimes divinities. But no, they tell them that you have to come back. And that, at that moment, after when they come back, they're very nostalgia. They don't want really to come back on Earth. And for us, it's hard as humans because we don't want them to go to death because we think it's finished and then we won't have any more contact. But now we see that also those contacts are possible. But that would be another topic of another video on the psychic. But I think psychic experiences are really is really a full part of this near-death experience, and they will see death ones, people that are sometimes people that they didn't even know. For example, the experience of this young man that has an entity that comes and welcomes him, and then once coming back in his body, then he realizes that this entity was the ex-boyfriend that was part of this this motorbike accident. So from the other side, that's a proof that on the other side there's entities that are here to help us. What do you mean by entity? Yes, entity is another soul. It's a remembering. It's recognizing somebody with the physical appearance that was the same as during its Earth life. And so most of the time those are telepathic conversations. What does that show us about our brain and our way of thinking? Well, it shows us that the brain is not much. Some people are not going to be too happy about that. Well, yes, we use a very small part of our brain, and it really tricks us. Some scientific researchers have shown that if we really stimulate a certain part of the brain right there, we would be able to reproduce similar experience, but just an hallucination of the near-death experience. But it has nothing to do with the real one, because the people that do real out-of-body experiences are able to see their body as they were above, underneath, or on the side, but they can also see outside of their body in other places. And no brain stimulation can get something close to that. So our brain can trick us, and not everything can be explained through our brain. The consciousness is much bigger than this neuro explanation. Pamela Reynolds, for example, was brain operated, and for an hour and 30 minutes, the circulation in her brain was stopped, and then we froze her brain, and yet she could describe all the experience. And she could describe the music, the instruments, the material that was used, and the conversation between the doctors, everything. It shows really that even when the brain stops, the consciousness, and it's even more, it's improved actually when the brain stops. A little bit like a television set. A lot of my colleagues, scientific colleagues, think that the program is created by the television, but when the TV is similar for the brain, sorry. The consciousness just continues even though when the TV set is off. There is a consciousness outside of that. I've interviewed recently Anita Moriani, our near-death experience, and I sent you the link. It's such a beautiful video and interview that has been seen by over 250,000 people around the world, and she had a cancer. She only had 36 hours to live, and then she had this near-death experience, and then 4 days later she had nearly no more tumors left in her body. So there is, did you notice also that there was this automatic healing that happens from those experiences, that can happen after those experiences? Yes, that's yes, this is quite new, and yes, there's a lot of healing, automatic healing that are more and more common now, and known, and people tell. Same thing for another patient that had the chemotherapy 4 times, and the 4th time nothing left, and so the scientist even thought that there was he thought he was a different patient. And so I went to him and asked him what went on, and he said, well, I knew that I was going to heal, and I would pray every day. I would pray for others, not for me, but for others. And he said, I would never listen to the information, to the news, because that really got me sick. And so he found a way to heal himself through spirituality. And so through thoughts we can make ourselves sick, but we can also heal ourselves. I think we should really, it's time to learn all of these. There's so much bigger intelligence outside of us, and sometimes we're arrogant that we know. Yes, we should be more humble, especially us, the medicine, the doctors. I was talking with a doctor earlier, and for him, the disease is a part of the body that is sick, but it just stops there. I really do think that we should go much further than that. A cancer is like a red button that something doesn't go well, and what we do is that we just turn off that red button through operation or chemotherapy, but we don't really solve the problem. And so another one, and later on another red button will turn on. We have to learn to use alternative medicine, holistic medicine, that should be working in collaboration. Very, very important. Sometimes we go one way or another. Yes. No, it's not to substitute one way or another. It's about working together. It would be great that we could work together. It's really otherwise for the patients bad. We really need to work together and collaborate. What else? Tell us 7 reasons to believe in afterlife. Is there other things that you would like to share? Well, I wrote this book in French because a lot of people want to know. At the end of the conferences I do, when I speak, people would come and say, I would love to buy a book for people, for especially a person that I know, my mother or partner, that is not open to these things, and I would love to share a simple book that is not too scientific and that I can easily share with anyone. And this book was not done yet, so I wrote this book. It's the book to offer to the skeptics, because I really wanted once and for all reply to the same arguments that they always say. So I wanted to fix that and reply to those answers, those common answers and criticism about near-death experience. And I really say to other people that you have to share it and give it to another. You don't leave that on the shelves. It doesn't matter, it sells this book, but it's important that the ideas actually are shared. That's why all my conferences are, I never say no to that film. I'm not into the business of it. I just want that people share these ideas, and I'm only a piece of the puzzle in all this. There's nobody that is more important. It really starts to shake up and move forward now. Some people now and doctors start to let me know that they're psychic, and so maybe we're going to start to speak about this. And some other doctors are starting to say they're also healers, but they can't say it, otherwise they would not be able to practice anymore being a doctor. So, but all this is changing and things are accelerating. 2012 is like a door to another world. People say we're going to change, but I really think and feel that the world is changing and we're going towards objectives that are way more human, and where we're going to be able to share and helping others. I think human beings have progress, and it's quite visible now. And this, yes, this is a beautiful message to finish this and to conclude this interview. Thank you so much for this moment. It's really awesome. We're here in the reanimation room and everything is happening here. Yeah, we're here right now. Today we're here and tomorrow we'll be in another present moment. Bye. Thank you. Much love from Toulouse in France. Bye. Hello, my delicious co-creators. Lilou here. I'm in Toulouse, in France, with Dr. Jean-Jacques Charbonier, that is author and anesthesist, and in the reanimation room, yes, are essential. Yes, I really think that it's time to shake up the palm tree, and because the materialism scientific point of view is time to be shaken up. So it's very important that publishers like Trédaniel, publisher, can share this information. I'm only one piece of the puzzle to share those testimonials. But those to me are very, very important. It's not really the... I also do conferences and write books. Yes, it's starting to really be a phenomenon. We often see you on TV and radio. You wrote many books, including this one, the seven Good Reasons to Believe in the Afterlife, from Trédaniel Edition, publisher here in France, that is courageous to share all this information. It is essential, especially right now. And testimonials like yours of life after death, especially from a scientific background, your testimonials, it continues to be difficult to communicate this, but personally I do this very naturally and with colleagues, and the nurses and the doctors know and they help, and very often somebody will let me know, a doctor that should go and visit a patient because they had such an experience. So all those testimonials that were put on the side now are really being known. It's time. Those that have lived those experiences of death. Yes, I'm really interested for many reasons, and especially coming from you, it's very courageous to come out and to talk in front of your colleagues and in the hospital about this. Well, no, not really courageous. It would be courageous if I would face a fear, but here I'm not fearful about telling all this. I would be really uncomfortable not to speak about it because now it's such an evidence. And